Welcome to our first May Q&A video. If you want your questions answered, make sure to comment them down below and I'll get to them in the next video. Our first question is, picking between our anti-airs, especially in matchups where the opponent has a highly air-mobile character like Chip, Milia, or Mei. Now when it comes to anti-airing characters like Milia or Mei, the most important thing to keep in mind is that you need to mix up your air options a lot. The biggest determining factor though is which jump are they using. Like, are they instant air dashing at you, then 5H or 6P is good. If they're super jumping, and you should super jump with them and do a JD, or wait for them to fall and then 2H their landing. It also depends on the normal they're using in the air. Like a JH from Kai is really hard to 2H I find, but if he's using JS, then you can go under it and hit him with the 2H. But usually if they're doing JH, then you can just 6P and it's pretty easy to time. One problem against a lot of characters is that their normals are just a little bit faster than yours. So if they're pressing buttons really early, then you should wait. But if they're not pressing that early, then you could just jump at them and throw out your own like JS, JP, JK, any button really. The hardest call out option for you is to do an air throw. I like to do this after like close slash if the opponent is just really jump happy in that situation, because it basically tells them to sit the fuck down and stop jumping. Our next question is from Swerse, who says, I heard you can use up Dolphins to get out of or challenge some Blockstrings. I want to know more about it. The most notorious situation where up Dolphin's really good is when you're blocking against Anji's Fujin mix, because you can react to a lot of his options with it. You can theoretically react to the overhead with it, you can easily react to the jump or the needle toss, and if he does the low, then you just kind of don't press the up Dolphin. That's where it's really strong, I find. I also like to try it against Kai's Fodray arc. Not really sure if it's a good idea because 5P is a bit faster, but always trades or beats it at least pretty favorably. For me otherwise though, I do prefer like 5P interrupts or 6P or super. Up Dolphin has its uses, but not all the time. Our next question comes from Eric G, who asks, I've gotten so used to approaching with aerials that when I get to Celestial and people use 6P, I get smacked. How do you better improve your ground game as Mei? But second of all, this is actually a too-faceted question, because really, you don't just have to improve your ground game, you can also improve your air game to play around 6P a bit better. There's the classic grappler jump, where you basically just jump and you land right outside of 6P range, and then you can just punish them with, say, a 3K or 2K or anything you want to try, really. There's also the option of doing an empty instant air dash into a throw. This loses to a lot of different anti-airs, but if they're just kind of doing 6P, then you might actually go right over it and do a throw. And you can also try doing a jump forward, and then before you land, either do an air super, or land and then immediately do a ground super. It makes them feel pretty dumb, to be honest. The bait I personally use the most though, is to jump towards them, and then right before they would have to 6P to stop your normal JH, you air dash backwards and then throw out your attack, because that'll bait them into doing the 6P and you'll punish them with your JH. I think you should be able to make your ground game and air game flow together fairly well, because if somebody's looking to 6P, then you might have time to say dash in and do a 2K or dash in to just bait them in general, or even try a beach ball. I don't actually know, probably not, but there's a lot of things you could do when they're not focused on your ground game like that. Also, a bit I like using is people like to do run up 6P is to do an empty jump into a 2K or a 3K. It works a lot more than you think it would, especially against people that like to just kind of wait and whiff punish you. I hope that's given you some good ideas to try out. But let's move on to our next question from Night 2000. Hey, can you do a video on how to do close slash into another close slash? Sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. I feel like I gotta learn it. Thanks and Godspeed. Well, thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. But the first device I'm going to use, and this one might be a bit controversial, I think the run button makes this tech a little harder than it actually is. When I was first learning to do this tech, I basically just looked for when Mei was pulling back her anchor, and I would then double tap to just go and immediately do another close slash. It can be a little awkward, especially when they do an FD on your close slash. You can wait a bit longer than you actually think you can with this, but I recommend doing it as fast as you physically can without doing a run cancel, because if you run cancel it, you're pretty fucked. Otherwise, to me, it's kind of just a rhythm thing at this point. Like, I kind of just get a feel, and I can kind of just loop it over and over. Once you get that initial timing down, it should be pretty easy. But it's hard to give advice, because obviously I'm not you, and some of these cues just might not work for you very well. Let's move on to the next question, though, coming from Flynn Lance. Is there any reason as to why you do close slash into 2H in pressure or punishes instead of close slash into 6H? I get that the Dolphin cancel off of 6H is way harder, but isn't it also more damage? Maybe I'm missing something here. Okay, for a totally honest answer, it's actually a really bad habit I got from when I first started the game. Just because of the fact it was such an easy thing to charge off of, I never actually broke the habit. Personally, my favorite cancel is always going to be 5H because of just how staggerable it is, and the fact that it leads into very nice damage without much of an execution barrier behind it. 6H is absolutely really strong, and I like to save it for when I know if you're gonna mash. So I'll like save it for after I've done like close slash, or close slash throw a few times, and then I'll go for the 6H. Because if I'm going for it, I want it to land, just because of the risk of saying getting 6 speed between my 6H and Dolphin, or if they block it and I don't want to cancel into Dolphin. Just a lot of reasons. I don't like 6H cancel that much. But of course, if you do want that optimal big boy damage, then you gotta do 6H, or 2H even. It leads to really nice damage, but yeah, it definitely leads to the most damage if you can set it up correctly. Our final question today comes from Mr. E. Best block strings, optimal air combos, and how do you combo into Yamada-san? Well, to answer that first question of best block strings, as long as you can hit them with a close slash, you're pretty golden, because after they block it, there's so many mix-ups after. I mean, you can go close slash 6k for an overhead, close slash into 2k for a low, close slash into a close slash for a reset, close slash grab, which is really hard to react to, close slash into shimmy to bait out grab techs, close slash into any frame trap like 5H or 6H or 2H or anything really, as mentioned before. That's basically your god mode option. Obviously, there's some also pretty good options like making them block 2k, because you could dash in after, because if you're scared of like 2D or something. But basically, as long as you can make them block close slash, then you're in a pretty good spot. As for optimal air combos, I don't honestly use them very often, but there is this one combo going around a lot, which is basically close slash 2H and then heavy slash up Dolphin when you cancel into a fast Roman cancel. When you do JD, air dash forward, JH. It's apparently really good for corner carry and damage. I don't use it yet, but it's apparently pretty good, I'll give it that. Now, as for comboing into your boy Mr. Yamada-san, it really comes down to just ending your combos with the correct normal move. So basically, if you knock them into the wall with a 5H, a 2H, a heavy slash Dolphin, then you'll pretty much always be able to combo into Yamada. There's a couple of stuff that don't combo into it, like an S Dolphin won't combo into Yamada. I don't think a close slash that sticks into the wall will combo into it. And I think most other moves won't. So basically, as long as you end your combos correctly and keep in account like of the wall when you're choosing these normals, you should always be able to combo into Mr. Yamada. But otherwise, it's kind of just doing Dolphin loops and just knowing when the wall's about to break and then doing the correct move to get that combo going. Either way though, that's all I have today. Before you click off, make sure you comment down below on what questions you would want featured in this video. I'll answer anything, bro. It doesn't even have to be Guilty Gear related. I'll answer anything. It can be matchups, it can be it can be fighting games in general. Ask them and I'll give some kind of response, bro. Trust me. Thank you for watching though. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll be here from y'all guys soon. Good day, goodbye, bye bye.